Hey, what's up, people? I'm IGP, and welcome back to Subnautica Below Zero. We have a ton of information given to us so graciously by the developers when they went into open development just this last week. We covered a lot in the last episode, which, if you missed, a link will be down in the description below where you can check it out, or in the top right corner in card form. The Trello link will also be down there if you would like to check out the entire thing yourself. I'm still very excited to dive a little bit deeper and see what kind of information we can pull up. I covered most of the done section in the last episode, and some of the doing, the things that they are currently working on. But there's still so much, conceptually, that is listed in the to-do section, and even the backlog, which is like the last place I would ever look. Nonetheless, we're going to try to cover all of that today. Anything from early concepts, future plans, and even the Iceworm, which is something we touched on, but we didn't go into great detail, which apparently there's a lot more about it hidden within this table of contents. Anyway, we're gonna jump right into it. If you guys are still enjoying Subnautica, and if you're excited for Subnautica Below Zero, let me know in the comment section below. Tell us what you think. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. Anyway, there's been a few things added, and for some reason, I feel like they're sorting to the bottom. Most of what has been added is just really technical stuff. Little things here and there, nothing too big to discuss. Now, there is a new piece of concept art that was just released. This shows off a new creature called the Snow Stalker, a terrestrial relative of the Stalker of tropical seas. The Snow Stalker is able to move both on pack ice and through water as it hunts prey. Can use its tail as a prop to stand tall and view its surroundings. So this is basically a land version of the Stalker that we know and love. And I'm wondering if we're going to be able to collect the teeth, just like we could with the old Stalkers. Its snout and its eyes definitely remind me of the Stalker, but the rest of its body is definitely unique in its own right. As they've stated before, we're going to see a lot more land-based creatures and environments in this expansion. There will be much more time spent above water. Now, the juicy stuff, according to you guys, is in the backlog section. Aside from the roadmap not being available just yet, we do have things like the initial production scope. Just the general idea of what they wanted the expansion to be, and this was posted, God, how long ago was this? February of this year, so some time ago. And so suffice it to say that everything I'm about to show you in this video is subject to change as the game is being developed. Here's Tom's plot overview, which he actually blogged about, and I'll go into that later on. It goes into a little bit more detail about what the story is supposed to be, but this is a good synopsis. In short, you are a scientist studying precursor shit on 4546b for the Altera fleet in orbit. Shit goes wrong, and you're forced underwater. Altera wants you to send samples to the fleet. Simple enough. Great description. I understand entirely what my objective is going to be. Now, here is the feature ideas. This was posted again back in February around the same time. This is the lily pad islands. Beautiful concepts here. The rock puncher, the glow whale, the twisty bridges, base platforms on icebergs. Look at that. They even have a Cyclops docking bay, which is something that I have asked for literally since the beginning of early access for Subnautica, but as I know it, as far as what I've been informed, the Cyclops is likely not going to be in Below Zero. Cool concept, never going to see the light of day. It's a very empty document, by the way. Whoa, okay, expansion feature brainstorm. This one is packed full of stuff. What? Creatures, penguins, Iceworm, bust up through ice and go back down and leave a hole. Wow, there's a lot of details here. Glow whale, giant sea turtles, orcas, sea lion, polar bear, sea monkeys. Ooh. The new cute fish pet, possibly this pink creature. Oh, that guy! This is the Twisty Bridges biome. We've always seen this creature and kind of wondered why it's not in Subnautica, and we also wondered why the Twisty Bridges were not in Subnautica. It's very possible this pink creature could become your pet, just like the cute fish. That would be amazing. We got a giant bird, giant amoeba jellyfish thing, Gorg tunnel worms. Could be a shortcut or only way to get past a wall. Kraken tentacle grabs vehicle and holds it. Okay, hang on a second. The Kraken tentacle. Now, I recall a conversation that happened quite a long time ago. It might have been a conversation that I had with Corey. I cannot be sure. But but I think it was on the topic of the void, and how the void, in my opinion, would benefit greatly from having something that is so massive that you can't actually see it, and it kills you if you're in the void for a long time or you explore too far out. What they had stated was they had an original idea to have a giant tentacle, just the tentacle, come up and grab the player and kill them, or destroy their vehicle if they stayed in the void too long. Seeing just the tentacle being able to destroy your vehicles coming up from the dark depths of the void would be a great deterrent. I can guarantee if that happened to me, I would never go back. The ghost leviathans are terrifying enough. I can't imagine this thing. I wonder if that is what they're talking about, because as we saw the 2D map in the last episode, they actually are going to have a void section. Seems like they're talking about using the transfuser as well. Hey. And good news for the modding community, they actually took a look at the map mod that is available for Subnautica and have given it some thought. Could be something they implement for Below Zero. You'd imagine that if we were sent here as a scientist to do research, that we would be given the tools necessary to do so. I can't imagine that being a scientist also means that you're a cartographer. It would make more sense to have the map already ready. Besides that, we should probably have technology by this point in time where it could do a full topographical scan of the environment and just give it to you. This is pretty insane. I like all of this. But again, it's all old. Stuff will change drastically as they continue to develop it. Twitch integration? What is this? August 13th, so it actually isn't that long ago. What? That would be amazing, although I have no idea what it would actually entail. So that's pretty much it for the backlog section. We've covered 2 full sections now. I want to talk about the Iceworm. I'm going to assume that the Iceworm is the thing that we saw on the bottom of this concept art. That giant worm, right? So here, the next steps on the Iceworm, we're looking to set up the first Iceworm in the lower ice shelf region before you hike up to the exchanger. So you're going to encounter this thing rather early in the game. First, some motivation. We need some kind of gameplay obstacle challenge in open ice areas so the player doesn't just put a weight on their W key while heading off to fix a sandwich. We'd be best served with a simple systematic behavior design. In this case, iceworms are triggered by noise on the surface. This hopefully can lead to emergent consequences whenever anything is actively making noise outside of player actions, whether other creatures, drills, noisemakers, etc. It'll be idle, then emerged, then do a dive attack on the player or whatever it's attacking, and then go back to idle. Idle iceworms are not visible to the player. They are just fictionally idle, waiting somewhere below the ice. Oh no. For the purpose of surface gameplay, iceworms should be able to emerge from any location on the ice shelf as desired for gameplay. Since iceworms must operate roughly on a fixed Y plane, higher ground is safe for the player, as are caves and other sheltered areas. So being out in the open is a dangerous time. This is very much reminding me of Osiris New Dawn and the sandworms that attack. Iceworms are fictionally activated and will emerge from the ice as a result by noise. They are not hostile to the player in general, but a player may choose to disturb iceworms at their own risk. The player walking on the ice will not trigger the iceworm, but running will. Drills are noisy and attract iceworms. To prevent iceworms from destroying your drills in iceworm active regions, you need to use thumpers or some other appropriately fictionalized noisemaker to create noise and distract the iceworms. Yes, this is shamelessly stolen from Dune. But that's going to be a nice hiccup in your open exploration, where you have to make noise to distract the gigantic creature that is going to eat you in order to progress or explore properly. Noise brings the iceworm out somewhere near the noise location, at a distance where the iceworm can reach the noise with a dive attack. The iceworm's emergence is telegraphed with rumbling noise, of course, and cracking ice chunks for about a second. So this is not going to attack where you were standing. It's going to attack where it thinks you're going. The iceworm has some chance of retreating after emerging. Say, if there's no noise coming from the surface, this currently happens sometimes. The iceworm emerges, looks scary, and then goes back under the ice. Hail and lightning strikes on the surface may also constitute noise activating iceworms. Perhaps this makes iceworms effectively confused, which may facilitate the use of drills. If the iceworm decides to attack, because it detects ongoing noise, it should pick a destination based on any movement vector implicit in recent detected noise information. If the only noise information is the player moving on the ice, this should represent a pretty accurate targeting of the player's future position. In other words, if the player is running in a straight line through an Iceworm area, the Iceworm will be able to successfully attack the player. So this is quite complicated, but really simple for us once we're playing the game. This thing is attracted by noise, and if you make too much noise, it will attack you. It will predict your movement and try to attack you where you will end up being based on you walking or running. If it can't reach you, it will try and try again. Possible feature elaborations: Iceworms that grab the player on the way out of the ice and carry them down in another location, possibly under the ice. Emerging from the ice causes large and dangerous ice chunks to go flying in random directions. And here's where they're actually doing it right now. Screen shake and sound effects will help draw player attention even if worm is off screen. Physical ice chunks should be ejected into the playing area, possibly a hazard to the player. It is very large, big enough to attack vehicles. Worms navigating through network of tunnels. Oh my goodness. I swear I talked about this in a previous video. Maybe I cut it from the video because it was kind of reaching and far-fetched. But now that they say that these worms can travel in tunnels, I was going to say that in this concept art, it does look like there are tunnels dug all around the ice and that it can travel through them. Visible as heat sources on some kind of radar display. So that's kind of making me wonder. It's going to be displayed as a heat source, possibly, again. And it also mentioned digging through tunnels. Now, the creature being alive would obviously pick up as a heat source, but I'm starting to think that if it can dig tunnels like this, I wonder if this thing could just melt through the ice. Given that it's called the Iceworm, other than just plowing through the ice, maybe it also melts through it. Consider smaller systemic worms for general gameplay, plus a larger Emperor-style worm for a fictional set piece. Oh goody, I am excited. So they are actively working on this thing, and we have not got to see any graphic of it, other than what I assume is from that concept art. Well, I think it's time to move on from the Iceworm. This is a lot of information, and it's scaring the living shit out of me. So instead, I want to take you guys into what I missed in the last episode, and that was the sketchfab model for the glow whale. Look at this beautiful freaking thing. And as I said in the past, it does resemble the rabbit ray to me just a little bit. I know this is supposed to be huge. It's beautiful. I'm gonna go see what's in its eye. That's the world. It looks like a it looks like a freaking world, dude. Beautiful guy. Okay, he opens his mouth. That's a big mouth, my guy. Yeah, it seems like the mouth goes all the way back here. Holy crap. Excellent. I love the barnacle stuff on the side of it. That's a nice little detail. It looks like it has like bioluminescent fins here. Is this something that will be lit up at night or just underwater in the depths? Because if I recall correctly, these things are supposed to dive pretty deep. Let me see if I can find that information. So here we go. Here are the basic glow whale behaviors. It jumps into the air. That's a nice touch. I cannot read this handwriting. Water surface. It surfaces, chills in the surface, goes for a dive, or it jumps. So it'll consume, and then it will loop and either go back up to the surface or start diving in groups and dive super deep to the bottom while it hunts. And apparently we can attach to them, dude. We can ride the freaking glow whales. Do you see this confirmation here? And then it goes back up for a jump and then repeats. That's nice. Moving away from the glow whale and all of its beauty, there is this spiky trap. The spiky trap has risen from its silty bed once again to ensnare another animator. We're getting this guy done. I've devised a different approach to the grabber tentacle that allows the programmers to attach it to creatures however they like. A gist of the action: this plant will idly sway until it notices prey, then the tentacles reel in and sit poised to shoot at the target if it gets close enough to strike. When it strikes, the palm will suction onto the target to keep hold. The nozzle will then suck in the tentacle and pull the prey towards its mouth. So there's a YouTube video. Oh my goodness. So this is not the... Whoa! Okay, no. We gotta pause. No. Spike trap was enough, all right? Why does this one have to be like the freaking hands in that Ocarina of Time dungeon, the Shadow Temple, the fucking things coming out of the ground? And there's no reason why it has to be that, okay? This is supposed to be a beautiful place with beautiful penguins and beautiful creatures and whales. This is not supposed to be happening. Another entity that we already knew about but we didn't get to see as far as the model goes is the Titan holefish. Now, once again, the Titan holefish is described as having formed a symbiosis with a small aggressive fish species. That would be these little guys right here. Their semi-parasitic eggs are laid in a mass in the hole, extracting some nutrients and staying oxygenated. In exchange, the small fish mob any predators and nip off parasites. So essentially what you're seeing here in these little dots inside this hole are eggs. It's almost like a jelly-like field, and we actually get to look at the model. And here it is in 3D. Now, it doesn't look that big, but as you saw in the concept, it is quite large. It's something that's massive in size. And look at all of these little eggs inside of this jelly donut-like substance. That's a lot of eggs. So if you were to turn it sideways, it definitely looks like one of those tube floaters that you sit in a pool. How this isn't already a piece of merchandise for Unknown Worlds is beyond me. Anyway, this thing is beautiful. If you don't remember, this face was all over the Discord for a while, and people were kind of figuring out what it was. Interestingly enough, the devs were just teasing the new creature. It's interesting though. I'm pretty sure there's a fauna that it's already called a holefish, right? So this is just an enlarged version of that? I may be wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm right though. Anyway, so you can just kind of imagine all the little critters floating around here protecting these little babies, and in exchange they get to feast upon the nutrients. I hope that doesn't mean that they're eating the babies. Anyway, that is the Titan holefish. Also, it looks like they're working on assets for the twisty bridges. Here's some shrooms. I'm not sure we can interact with them, but they look beautiful in Subnautica-y. Here's something I missed, the jukebox. Oh yeah, here's some good old gameplay. Okay, so we get to place down oh. Yeah. Okay, I can dig it. I'm assuming you can use your own music, right? Or you can put in the Subnautica original soundtrack. I like the real-time interface. You don't have to like pull one up to use it. You can just do it right there. The audio meters and stuff, that's pretty cool. Very nice. And that's just about it for the Trello. All of the major points that I wanted to bring up. A lot of everything else is really just fixing things or re-implementing things or updating things. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of new content as the weeks come. But the last thing that I wanted to bring up to you guys today is Tom's story blog. I actually read over this at a certain point, but I'll kind of briefly go over it with you. Below Zero will feature a smaller game world than the original and offer a 10+ hour experience with the same Subnautica gameplay you know and love, with new story and content. That content includes a whole new map, new biomes, creatures, vehicles, characters, and equipment, in addition to a revamped temperature system that we are still tinkering with. So this is a standalone expansion set some months after the events of the original game. Riley Robinson has escaped 4546b and made it back to Federation space, and Altera has now sent the Vesper, an orbital research station, to the planet, where they maintain a small contractor presence on the surface. Ostensibly, they are here to salvage the Aurora and prospect for resources. Altera being Altera, this may not be the whole truth, just as we weren't aware that our mission was also to find out what happened to the Degassi. Now, the story. We did consider adding content to the base scenario instead of creating an entirely new one, but I argued against it from a story perspective, and I am glad we are doing something standalone. The original story had been told. For me to be excited about working on an expansion, and for you to be excited to play it, I wanted a new character with a new set of conflicts, which let us further explore the world that we created, not just a bolt-on. You will play as one of Altera's contractors, a zoologist of alien life stationed in a frozen area of the planet, tasked with investigating the alien ruins. Of course, a complication will arise that throws everything upside down and forces you to dive deeper in search of answers. We hope this scenario gives us a neat twist on the original. You are still on the planet, fending for yourself and surviving against the elements, but now you're in touch with the Vesper in the skies above, which completely changes the context of your actions and puts the story and character dialogue more front and center. We are not turning our slow survival game into an action shooter. In Below Zero, you're still going to be exploring an open world, finding abandoned bases, audio diaries, scanning creatures, and following clues to the next big surprise. You're still going to be piecing the story together as you go. The story is still going to turn around human interaction with the natural and alien world. But I am trying to tell the story in a way that is more character-driven. In the base game, your character has no on-screen personality. The character's motivations are always a sort of reduction of natural human motivations. In the expansion, I would like dialogue and core plot to be more intertwined. To achieve that end, we are experimenting with using a speaking player character. Apparently, it's a controversial decision within the team. Personally, I feel that our character speaking a bit more will help us be more immersed. It almost kind of makes sense that Riley Robinson didn't speak much, considering that the only time he ever had anyone talking to him was either the Emperor telepathically or Avery Quinn, which apparently we didn't have a way to communicate back. It almost wouldn't really make sense for him to be talking to himself unless he's going insane, which is a high probability, thinking that you're dead. But either way, I think this is going to play out just fine. I don't foresee any problems with the story being character-driven or with the character speaking more often. Hopefully they'll take on inspiration from the horror side, from maybe something like Amnesia: The Dark Descent, where your character is a zoologist who studies alien life, but is going to be encountering beasts that are terrifying, and that might result in our character making noise and remarks and kind of audio cues to let you know how your character is feeling. In a sense, it could also help gameplay-wise. It could be a mechanic. For you to know that something's not right with your character, you can hear your character moan or grunt, even start to cry. Or if something's on your screen that you should pay attention to, like the Iceworm, and maybe you're not really looking and avoiding it, your character can respond to it and start to freak out or breathe heavily, heartbeats or something. I wouldn't mind a little sass either. Not a problem here for me whatsoever. That's just my opinion though. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about all of this information? This is a lot of stuff to take in, and there's still more to come. I am as excited as ever to finally get to play this and see all of this stuff be put together in one experience. Now, I know once early access is out, we are not going to have that full experience of the full game, but it's still going to be amazing. We all know what we enjoyed and expected from Subnautica, and we know we're going to get that delivery from this team. So that is all the information that I have for you guys today. As the Trello updates, I'll make videos in the future covering that information if there's enough to cover in a video. I don't want to make one-offs, 3-minute videos. It's just not how my channel works. There are others who will do that, I can assure you. Aki, Awesome Crunch, these guys will cover the news as they come out. If there's anything important, I can guarantee they will cover it. So be sure to subscribe to those guys so you can have up-to-date news, and then wait around for my video to come out whenever that decides to happen. Anyway, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to hit that like button. Let me know in the comment section below what you would like to see in the next one. If there's anything I missed, talk it up. We like having discussions here. Thanks again for watching, everyone. I love you all, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye!